Before we get into this video, just want to let you guys know to hit the bell button next to the subscribe button so you never miss notifications on new videos. YouTube has been a bit inconsistent recently with notifying subscribers, so make sure you do that. On to this video. Open world games have become the juggernaut genre of this generation. From new IPs to existing IPs going to the open world approach, gamers love to freely explore worlds and games. And in this video, we'll be counting down the top 10 PS4 open world games coming in 2017. This list includes exclusives as well as multi-platform titles. With that being said, let's get right into this. Number 10, Agents of Mayhem. Agents of Mayhem is an open-world action-adventure being developed by Volition, the guys best known for the Saints Row games, and Agents of Mayhem is actually set in the same universe. The game takes place in futuristic South Korea, and you control 3 agents at a time, each with their unique playstyles and abilities. There will be a total of 12 agents, 4 of which we currently know about: Fortune, a former sky pirate; Hardtack, a US Navy chief officer; Hollywood, an actor; and Rime, an Indian immunologist. Agents of Mayhem is a very zany game, but it has potential. It comes sometime in 2017.
So I helped inform the overall story of Agents of Mayhem.
Without giving much away, what's going on in Agents of Mayhem?
Agents of Mayhem is about this global fight between the agency known as Mayhem, the multinational agency for hunting evil masterminds, and Legion, the League of Evil Gentlemen, intent on obliterating nations.
Jeez.
Yeah, acronyms all over the place.
So Mayhem's an acronym.
Mayhem's an acronym. Legion's an acronym. We have acronyms. We have them everywhere. It's great. So Legion attacked the world in this global simultaneous attack, and Mayhem was formed by this woman, Persephone Brimstone.
Okay.
Bankrolled by the company familiar to fans of Volition.
Number 9, Sniper Ghost Warrior 3. Sniper Ghost Warrior has been one of the more underrated first-person shooter series. Unlike the first 2 games, Ghost Warrior 3 was designed with the intent of being much more open, as is the case with a lot of games this generation. The world features different activities and side missions, and you're free to do them as long as you're not playing through the main story. The idea behind Ghost Warrior 3 was to make a game that's accessible for new players as well as tactical enough for more ardent players. Sniper Ghost Warrior 3 releases on April 4th.
Hey, who's there?
Number 8, Ghost Recon Wildlands. Ubisoft has been putting out quite a few ambitious games recently: The Division, Steep, and now we have Ghost Recon Wildlands, an open-world cooperative tactical shooter. The game is set in Bolivia, where a drug cartel has gained more and more power. The rise in power has led to the US government to dispatch a special operations unit known as the Ghost to destroy the cartel. The story seems to be largely a backdrop to the gigantic world that you'll be exploring in Wildlands with a few friends. Now, you can play this game solo, but then you'll be accompanied by AI, so I'd recommend just to have a few buddies to play with. Ghost Recon Wildlands releases on March 7th.
Putting a huge emphasis on 4-player co-op, this is a chance to work together as a team in a small slice of Ghost Recon Wildlands' immense open world. And some things stand out more than others. One of the first things we were introduced to in Ghost Recon Wildlands was the portable drone carried by each ghost. Essential for scouting and strategizing, these let us fly freely through our surroundings, spotting and tagging cartel goons and getting a feel for their hideouts. While small and difficult for cartel soldiers to spot, the drones aren't invisible, and getting too close carried the risk of alerting the camp and giving our target a chance to escape. The Bolivia of Ghost Recon Wildlands is not a heavily militarized country, and civilians are everywhere.
Number 7, Yakuza 0. Sega is making a push with the Yakuza franchise stateside, and that continues with the release of Yakuza 0, a prequel to the main series. The game takes place in 1988, and Yakuza 0 was released in Japan back in 2015, and it received very high review scores, so hopefully it makes a smooth transition over to the States and retains its quality. It should be mentioned that in Japan this was a game made for both PS3 and PS4, so don't expect technical brilliance out of it. Still, it should be a pretty good open world action title. It releases on January 24th.
人がいなかったら今頃もう私は
太田生け捕りにして俺の前に出すな。
Number 6, Gravity Rush 2. Gravity Rush was one of the best games on the Vita. It featured very unique gravity manipulating based gameplay, an interesting main character, and a gorgeous world to explore. Now we have Gravity Rush 2, a sequel being built ground up for the PlayStation 4. Expect better visuals, much more content, a world 2.5 times the size as the first, and more refined combat. Gravity Rush has potential to develop into a major franchise for Sony, and with Gravity Rush 2, it may realize that potential. The game releases on January 20th. Number 5, NieR Automata. Many originally thought that the follow-up to NieR Automata would be more of a linear action-adventure game, but it was confirmed that this entry will be an open-world action RPG. Platinum Games are the guys behind it, and they are more experienced with creating high-octane action games and expect that style of gameplay in NieR Automata, but it'll be interesting to see how they develop an open world. Also expect an amazing soundtrack to be featured, and we've gotten a taste of that from the trailers of the game so far. NieR Automata releases on March 7th. Number 4, Days Gone. For the longest time, ardent PlayStation gamers were wondering what Sony's Bend Studio, the guys behind Siphon Filter, were working on. It was revealed to be Days Gone, an open-world action-adventure survival horror game. The game takes place 2 years after a global pandemic that killed almost all of humanity and transformed millions of others into freakers, mindless zombie-like creatures. So it's not the most interesting premise in the world, but technically the game looks amazing and the gameplay looks extremely chaotic. We just hope the frame rate holds up, as is the issue with games like this, but with a PS4 Pro, it shouldn't be too big of a deal. Days Gone doesn't have an exact release window, but late 2017 makes sense.
Oh shit. Oh shit.
Come on!
Number 3, Horizon Zero Dawn. Horizon Zero Dawn is the latest game from Guerrilla Games, one of Sony's top developers. However, this is very different than their previous works. Horizon Zero Dawn is an open-world action game taking place in a world where mech-like creatures such as dinosaurs are dominating. The first thing you notice when looking at the game is technically it's absolutely outstanding. The footage we've seen thus far of it is running on the PS4 Pro, so it'll be interesting to see how the game runs on the original console. It's also got some very unique gameplay, with the main character Aloy being able to take parts off the creatures and use it in combat. The game features a day and night cycle and a fully explorable world with no loading screens. This is a very ambitious game and it comes very soon on February 28th. Number 2, Mass Effect Andromeda. Mass Effect Andromeda is the latest example of developers taking a previously successful franchise and dropping it in an open world. Not that it's a bad thing, Mass Effect in an open world sounds pretty awesome. The game takes place long after the events of the first 3 Mass Effect games, and you play as either Sarah or Scott Ryder, and this time developing your character will be much more open. You can assign points to different skills and constantly relocate skills to figure out which style of play suits you the most. Mass Effect Andromeda doesn't have an exact release date yet, but spring 2017 seems likely. Before we get to number 1, here are some honorable mentions. ELEX, Rime, Shenmue 3.
I love this season. It's so beautiful. The forest all full of color.
Yeah.
Ryo, can you jump?
Yeah.
Finally, number 1, Red Dead Redemption 2. Out of all of the games on this list, Red Dead Redemption 2 is by far the game we know the least about. We've seen one trailer thus far, but even with that little information, it has to be number 1. The first Red Dead Redemption is widely considered to be one of the best open world games ever, if not the best, and many would consider it to be the best game of last generation. It had a great western world, a relatable and engaging main character, and content that was worthwhile. Then you had the online mode as well. We know that Red Dead Redemption 2 will be another open world western epic, and we know it'll have an online multiplayer mode as well. And just with that little info, gamers are absolutely stoked. RDR2 is set for a release late next year. So that wraps up our countdown of the top 10 PS4 open world games coming in 2017. What do you think? Which PS4 open world games are you the most excited for? Do you think we overrated a game, underrated one, forgot to mention one? Comment your thoughts down below. Thank you for watching, and goodbye.